In this video, I'm going to break down and rank the most effective client acquisition methods for your agency, consultancy, or B2B business. Now, the reality is there's some channels that are just absolutely more effective at getting clients, and there's some that are a complete time suck and an absolute waste of effort. So in this video, I'm going to be ranking them from S tier all the way to D tier so you can focus on what matters and ditch the rest. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. Okay, so now we're over here in Miro, and really every client acquisition method is going to fall into one of these four categories. So we're going to kick it off with warm outreach, right? Now, pretty obvious, but this is reaching out to people who you already know. These are your contacts, social following, past customers through personal messages, emails, or DMs. Then we got cold outreach. So people we don't know. Think LinkedIn outreach, cold calls, cold DMs. And this is really a numbers game that requires a lot of persistence and a lot of volume, more than you think. Then we have social content. So creating and sharing valuable videos similar to the one that you are watching right now with the goal of getting followers, creating engagement, and getting book calls from it. And then lastly, we have paid media. So running targeted ad campaigns to scale our lead generation quickly with the right messaging. Now, all of these fit within these four buckets, but what are the pros and cons of each of them? And what should you consider for your own business and your own lead gen? Well, let's start up here with YouTube content, right? So YouTube content pros of it, long form authority building, right? If someone watches 7+ hours of your content, Google actually did a study on this, that people are much more likely to convert after 7+ hours of content consumption. That is why you're going to do YouTube, right? You're building that authority. People show up to your calls, essentially pre-sold. Also, evergreen content, videos that you post a year ago can still get views today, unlike short form platforms. Also, the intent is there for people to learn, right? You're on this video because you're hopefully going to learn how to acquire clients for your business more effectively, right? The intent is there versus if I'm scrolling on TikTok, I'm there to be entertained. I'm not necessarily in that headspace of, hey, I'm trying to learn something here. But what are the cons? Really significant time investment, slow initial growth, and you got to commit long-term to building here. Referrals, right? One of my favorite ways to do it. Highest trust factor, highest close rates, and really low or free acquisition costs, essentially. But the cons are it's not directly scalable. It can be really inconsistent, and relationships take a lot of time to build before they can actually be fruitful for you. Next, LinkedIn content, right? Pros, great authority building, really compounds over time as your following starts to grow. And it does attract inbound leads, right? I've closed some huge deals on LinkedIn and gotten some of my best clients from LinkedIn because it's kind of like Instagram, but everyone on there has money and has intent that they're actually there to learn something and, find ways to grow their business or scale whatever it is that they are doing. Cons really requires consistency. I post every single day on LinkedIn and I haven't missed a day in essentially a year. There may have been a couple days in there that I didn't post, but consistency, very, very key there. Slow initial growth as well. You're not going to see traction until you're showing up for people, you're posting, you're commenting day in, day out. And can be hard to measure the direct ROI on content unless you have ways of getting people over to your list or to your call booking, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Also, LinkedIn cold outreach pros, once again, same thing as LinkedIn content in that there's professional intent. People can see a little bit more about you, actually see case studies, content, featured things on your profile, and you can learn a lot about your prospects up front so you can personalize that outreach a bit better. But some of the cons, platform limitations on messages. You're not going to be sending thousands of messages a week unless you have multiple profiles, time consuming without automation, and can feel really spammy if done poorly, and really not going to get results if you automate this or overly automate this, I should say. So let's move up to cold email, right? Pros, super highly scalable, can be automated and works for you 24/7, right? You set up a sequence, you find your ideal leads, you do some testing, and what do you know? You're going ahead and booking calls from cold email. But the cons are low response rates, and cold email does take a while to dial in and to actually crack. Now, once it works, it can work very well, but you're going to spend some time getting there for sure. And in the process, you're probably going to burn several domains and land in spam and try and really figure out all the mechanics on the infrastructure side of cold email to make sure that you're doing it to its fullest capabilities, which this space changes super, super quickly. Unless you're going to commit to being on top of all those changes, it's probably going to be hard for you to see results there. Loom outreach, another way of doing cold outreach, highly personalized, really stands out from text-based outreach like email or even cold LinkedIn text messages, but you're going to have higher response rates because you're actually actually putting effort into those outreach videos and making it uniquely valuable to that prospect. And hey, in return, they're probably going to be more willing to jump on the phone with you, assuming they watch the video and the video is good. So overall, I'm a fan of Loom outreach videos, but the cons, man, it is very time consuming and it doesn't scale super well, right? So this could be good if you are going for a higher tier client, but you're going to be doing less outreach and your deal sizes are bigger. But if you want to play the volume game, lower ticket retainers, this is probably going to be somewhat tough. Instagram content, pros, high engagement potential, right? You know, you get a viral video, you can easily grow your following overnight, but you might post for a year to 2 years to find out what that post is going to be. And you can't really plan for that kind of virality. Also builds personal brand, visual storytelling. You can be very creative here, tap into trends, things like that. I am a fan of it, but overall, I would say it's less B2B focused and a little bit harder to convert clients because it's a short lifespan piece. So unless someone is taking action right then and there, you know, they see a reel of yours, they go visit your bio, go book a call, or, you know, gain them as a follower, it's going to be difficult to succeed here. Now, it definitely can work. So I don't want to sit here and say that posting Instagram content doesn't work, but I do think that there are better methods out there. Lead magnets, pros to these work passively, right? So if I set this up as a landing page somewhere and I'm driving traffic from LinkedIn or ads or whatever, not only does this position me as an expert, but it's building my email newsletter and it's building trust. It's fully solving a small problem for my prospects, but it's creating 10 more in the process. So what do they need to do to get those other 10 solved? Well, obviously reach out to you and get additional help. Also, pre-qualifies interested prospects. This is once again about signaling intent. If someone downloads a resource on how to get clients, probably have a client acquisition issue, right? Cons, requires quality content creation. So you really need to put a lot of effort into a lead magnet. Otherwise, people are going to see that, they're going to read it, and they're going to be like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. This wasn't good. Have no interest in really working with them. So if you're going to do it, make sure that it's actually good, high quality, and effective. Also, conversion to clients can be slow, right? Now, there's a lot of mechanisms that I could get into on how to change lead magnet opt-ins into book calls, but that is something for a separate video. Also requires some pretty detailed nurture sequences to make this effective. Now, let's move on to paid advertising. This is where I actually got my start in the marketing world almost a decade ago now, which is crazy to say. But pros, highly targeted, scalable, quick results. The cons, requires upfront investment. You got to actually spend money for that distribution. There is a bit of a learning curve to getting this and the associated funnels performing, and costs are rising, right? Pretty consistently. So paid ads overall, really great method just because of how scalable it is. And once you find something that works, the ability to distribute that and really grow whatever it is that you are selling or your offer in short order, unmatched. Cold calling. So pros, direct human connection. You get immediate feedback from a prospect on that call, and it can convert well when you're good at cold calling, but overall, you're going to get a pretty high rejection rate. But on interested people, this can do well. I actually started my career with a cold calling job, and it does work, but man, it is not the most fun thing to wake up and do every day. Some people have that personality innately. I'm not one of those people. But if you are, cold calling is something that you have a pretty good chance of success with, just because people are always going to be answering the phones if you knock on the door enough times. Cons, also time intensive and doesn't scale super well because you're limited by the number of reps that you have, right? So if you're the only rep, it's going to take some time. So now let's move on to our S to D tier ranking as far as these outreach methods go. Now, my first and top piece here, as far as S tier go, is going to be meta ads, or any ad channel for that matter, that actually has the ability to get you results. So the reason for that, super scalable, immediate feedback where I can buy data in 2-3 days, understand what I want to do next or what needs to change down funnel to actually get people converting, but really unmatched in terms of client acquisition. So I recommend you push for that as soon as you can and you have the capital to invest in ads. Next year on the list, we're going to say cold calling. I'm going to put this at a C because it can be good, but once again, not really scalable. It's going to be a numbers game. It's going to be kind of a grind. And just there's better methods out there in today's world to make it happen. Cold email, I'm going to put at a B because if you're good at it, it can work. The problem is it just takes a long time to get good at it and stay on top of these trends. And you're probably going to deal with a lot of headaches on getting this to convert. But that said, it is a low cost method and highly scalable. So I'm going to earn the B spot for that. Now, referrals, I'm also going to put up here in the S tier for effectiveness. The problem is the scalability. I might argue that it's an A tier. Maybe we'll actually put it there because of that reason. But overall, tried and true method. It's just you have to have the right structure in place to be able to scale something like that. You have to be able to recruit affiliates who can bring you referrals. You have to be able to have a good number of referral partners in general so it becomes more consistent. Otherwise, that well is going to run dry pretty quickly. All right, so let's move on to lead magnets. Now, this is also going to be an A tier opportunity for me. And the reason for that is because it signals intent. I can nurture them and prove my expertise and my worth to them and solve that specific problem and get that win so that they automatically trust that I'm going to be able to help out with whatever other issues they might be having related to that lead magnet. So lead magnet's definitely going to be A tier, and I could use something like paid ads or any of the other methods to drive traffic to that lead magnet and, get people on my calendar. Next piece here, LinkedIn cold outreach. I'm going to put here at the A tier as well. This is one of my favorite things currently right now because people come to you pre-sold inbound based on your content and your thought leadership expertise. So when done correctly, LinkedIn content is incredibly effective. And I would almost double LinkedIn outbound on that same A tier. On the cold outbound side, I might put it at a B tier, but A tier for sure. On the organic side, it just takes a long time to build, but it will pay dividends for you in the future. Next here, we got Instagram content. I'm going to put that at a B tier, not because I don't think it's super effective, but because once again, I think it doesn't lend itself as much B2B. I think it's more of a entertainment-based platform versus a value platform. Don't get me wrong. I know tons of people in my circle that are getting results with this, so might catch some heat for this one, but I don't think that it's as good as Meta or any of these other in the B2B space for getting clients specifically. Next, we got YouTube. To me, this is another A tier opportunity just because of the length of time that people are consuming this content and the amount of trust that builds. It's like you've known this person for a long time before you get on a call with them, and they're pretty much ready to work with you when they jump on the phone from a channel like this. And then lastly, we got Loom outreach. I'm going to put this at a C tier. I do think that this can be really effective, but the problem is the scalability, right? It's super time consuming. If I was running more of a low volume, but really high ticket service, I think I would put this probably at B or A tier. But for most people who are selling a standard, bread and butter, 2 to 10K a month type offering, that is just a lot of legwork to put in to find those clients. And I think, all these methods above can find those clients much easier and much faster. So that is all of the methods that we went through in some form or fashion ranked. So S tier, we got meta ads. A tier, referrals, lead magnets, LinkedIn, YouTube. B, we got cold email or instantly here, and Instagram organic. And then C tier, we got cold calling and cold Loom outreach. So that wraps it for this video. Let me know if you agree with my tier ranking in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.